Should I do it or not? You know,
What kind is it?
it's a Dodge Caravan, but change the oil every 3,000. That engine runs just perfect yet.
No
And transmission, they changed filters a couple times. And
Not falling through the floorboard.
no, not yet.
Should we go by the Plaza Hall area? Fairway to nowhere?
Great.
Stairway to heaven? Am I over there, man? Stairway to heaven, see what it looks like now.
Why?
Wind took it over last weekend.
What did? First time?
Last Sunday.
Well, that's the answer, yep, right there, huh? Yeah.
Took it over.
So it went right over.
Twisted. Down.
I think you're good.
So now he has to remove it.
There's no rebuilding, it's got to be there.
Just south of Lincoln School. Two houses south,
There's two and then that'd be the third one.
third one. Oh, we've had more complaints about that house than anything else.
Do they all have this? Tiny little book.
Well, there's one not far from the hospital. Neighbor's grass growing on the road. Was that one of those that burned or something?
This is Jim.
Yeah.
You were one foot.
It was, a week ago,
These guys will sell them.
And he's got to do it now.
a week ago, my wife,
Make my life easy.
home delivered meals, and things like that.
Those garage doors don't work like that though, because the doors don't stand.
6:30, let's call this meeting to order. Entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made,
Thanks.
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second. Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Tonight we're having a public hearing on variance to construct a detached garage with a little more height than what we code. And open this public meeting at, oh, that's quick, 6:30. We'll turn that one over to Ben.
Okay, so like I said, the application, I'll put up the drawing here, is for detached garage. And it does meet all the setback requirements. This is on Riverview Drive, which is up here, River is down here. And the garage is proposed is back in the corner by the road. It does meet all the setbacks, but it does not meet the height maximum that's allowed in the code, which is 18 feet to the peak, or to the top of the gable. And they're proposing something that would be about 22 feet, or maybe a little bit less than that. So that's the reason for the variance. The site is fairly well screened from the road, and then it's got some pretty tall trees on top of the neighboring property. But the height of it would be exceeded, so I'll leave it at that for now.
For all the neighbors, sent a letter.
Yeah, they were sent the letter, and within 350 feet, and we did not receive any written comments or verbal comments by the phone anyways that I've heard of. The sidewalls on the structure, it says in the setup report, there will be 8-foot 4-inch sidewalls, and 50 to 10 foot.
So the edge of the roof goes right down to the sidewalls, right? It's not lifting up a couple feet. Oh, okay.
And just again, a clarification on the ordinance, it does limit the height to the height of the house that's on the property or 18 feet there. Less.
Apparently the house is higher than 22 feet.
No?
Not?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's probably 25 feet.
Oh, 18, yeah, I think that's a public hearing regardless.
Okay, at this time, open it up to the public. Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against?
Sure, right.
Just give your name and
My name's Mike Roach, and so yeah, we basically put in the request for a variance to the height restriction, simply to, if I'm going to build something there, I'd like it to match the design and architecture of the current residence, the principal structure there, and it all has 10, 12 pitches to it. So, you know, effectively what I found was a design of something, I don't know, Ben, if you had this on there somewhere?
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Effectively, you know, that's a very similar design, and with a 10-12 pitch, it would come up to 21 feet. We were looking at ways to squeeze it down more. Certainly the bottom section is set for 9-foot height, and we could probably get that a bit lower, but it would still come in the 20 to 21 foot height range to the peak of the structures.
looks like the dormers are up how high? About 18? Right there,
Yeah, that's probably correct. Let me see there. If you where it's got the truss drawn, that's a 12-12, I believe. No, I take that back. That's the
This is 12.
the top one's the 12-12, and then the one they've got drawn in is the 10-12, and then must be an 8-12 below that, where you can just barely see the line sketched in there. Yep, that's it.
Even the 812 is pushing close to 18 feet, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say probably a bit beyond that, and most likely because the lower section, say a garage, if you were to bump it down to 7-foot doors, that, you know, the plan showing 8-foot doors, but
Apparently you're in favor.
I just wanted to put something up there that wasn't, you know, well, that really matched the
More
house itself.
aesthetics.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we could certainly build an 18-foot garage there and still have room for the attic space, but I guess it doesn't hurt to ask.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Yeah, I would like clarification for why there's a height restriction on that, in that particular zone, on a building like this. Maybe the zoning administrator can answer that, and then I would like to comment after that.
Take a shot at that?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
mean, I wasn't around when it was first written, so maybe you all might have better ideas than I do. But generally speaking, the height limits are there to try and, you know, make sure that the garage itself doesn't sort of dwarf the house. It has a lot to do with the appearance, I think, in my opinion. Area. And then just to you know, keep everything somewhat uniform in terms of the look for detached buildings like that. That said, I think this restriction was in place back when the city, you know, prior to annexation of that area up there. You know, we've had this conversation in other contexts too about how perhaps different rules would make sense for a fair than in the older parts of town. But at this point, that's not a conversation as far as I'm aware that's been had. we have the ordinance the way it is. It's a citywide ordinance and applies in all residential districts.
So, in your opinion, you haven't researched as to why there is this requirement to stay within a certain height? You don't know the answer to that?
Well, I don't know why the city of Little Falls put that in, no. And there's not usually enough record or
There's not gonna be
Not
enough
enough
detail in the
minutes to
minutes.
say.
It will show this is what the ordinance is and who voted in favor of it. That's the extent of the record keeping that bill we have on it.
Okay, so it's a very nice garage. It's pretty enough to live in. But I have no objection to that as long as this body treats another individual in a similar fashion, should they ever ask. I would ask that this be a uniform exception if you're going to make it. Other than that, it sounds like this decision again was made purely for aesthetics, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, in my opinion. I'm not for cookie cutter houses, cookie cutter garages, or cookie cutter neighborhoods. I think that's not a very smart idea. It isn't based on logic or creativity, unique atmosphere. But I just would reiterate that if this exception is made, that another person comes along, that they be given the same exception. That's it?
Anyone else?
Well, that don't make any sense. I mean, the ordinance was set, put a height restriction on it, and you do it on a case-by-case basis. That's why we have a variance, right?
That's right.
So I don't know what she's talking about. I mean,
I think it's fair to say that consideration be given to
Anybody who comes along.
Sure, if they can. I think the band of trees around the entire property is very helpful. If someone were to drive by, you literally can't see from the road into the property. It is. In fact, I grabbed a photograph or two of just that, and it's what Ben referred to earlier. Where is it? That's the neighbors. So sure. So effectively, that the rounded trees that goes circles the entire property. So when you look in there, there's not a whole lot to look at.
So the garage that you're putting up is it this is it this one, or is this just a picture that you selected?
What? No, those would be the
That's the
Bear
style?
Design. Bear Design will sell those blueprints for $100. So
Okay.
effectively, yeah,
But
we
this
would.
is what you want to put up.
That's what we would put up. Again, if it would help to squeeze it down, there are ways we could do that, and that would vary from their original design. But simply, shortening the walls. Okay, that's.
But for instance, what I'm reading here is the original was a 12-12 pitch, and you want a 10-12?
Because the principal structure on the property all has 10-12 pitches.
How far away from the principal structure is this garage?
45 feet? Maybe more. I could.
If no one else has anything to say out there, we're going to close the public hearing. Uh,
I get a second say now that they have shared their opinion, and I just want to reiterate, I've seen this body make decisions, looked into research from the past as well as fairly recently in the last 5 years, and a variance or conditional use is bending the law. It's making an exception to the rule of law. And all I'm saying is, I want this body to take into consideration, as well as the two city staff seated here, that when you bend the law, you have to bend the law for everybody fairly.
We're aware of that.
Okay, that's all I wanted to clarify.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing now at 6:42, and then we'll open it up to a discussion between the planning commission here. Any,
Where exactly, how far up Riverview Drive are you? Where,
Oh,
from Belle Prairie Church or Little Falls?
Almost to the end, where it curves around. So we're the fourth one from the end, on the Highway 10 side. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Right. Look up on the screen.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there.
You remember where Louise LaFond lived? With the big rock that said LaFond on it? When the first,
Fred?
Fred, yeah, Fred and Louise. But he just followed it down to his lot, and that's where, on the left.
Is it, I guess I
I
don't
helped,
recall.
uh,
Isn't
What
that
was
tree
her
covered
name?
there?
It's not too long ago, and
Jeraine Ryan.
I never paid attention to it until I saw the for sale sign.
Ryan.
It is quite.
The old Ryan house.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that must be about 3 down from the chimney that stands now, huh?
The chimney stands.
The fireplace, that's all that's left standing, somebody tore that house down, that's kind of right in that same
Oh,
next to the woods.
yeah, that's, it's probably 15 down from there. It's almost to the end.
It's
It's
farther north.
close, yeah, farther north, behind the church almost. It's 2 houses south from the church.
and this will be your residence?
Yep, this is the house me and my family live in.
Anyone else?
Do you know, what's the grade from the house to the garage? Finished grade?
It-
You know, is it,
it-
it's pretty much flat?
It's very
plus or minus
flat.
a foot?
Yep.
I know we just had discussion on this on the last deal with the whole garage sizes of square footage. And it was brought up by the council more than once on the height and not being taller than houses, that's my concerns.
Well, the house is 25 feet, he says, so it'd be 3 feet below. But then Robin did bring up a good point. Since I've been on this planning commission, there have been other requests to exceed that 18 foot, and we denied them. It's almost like we need, is this something we're willing to look at and change, you know, and have a public hearing to change our ordinance as far as height? Or do you want to go,
I'm just, okay, as soon as you're finished, I'll ask you.
okay, go ahead.
You done? Just eyeballing this picture, and it doesn't appear, to my sense, that the gables facing this way
Mm-hmm.
are at a 10-12 pitch. They appear to be 12-12 or perhaps even lower. Which way, does the 10-12 must run the length of the house?
So for every 12 feet of horizontal, you'll have 10 feet of
But
height.
I'm looking at these two end gables. And from this photo, it doesn't appear to be, they don't appear to be 10-12. They appear to be 12-12 or less.
Well, 10-12 is smaller.
12 would be steep.
Yeah, you're thinking 8.
I thought he wanted to go
12.
steeper.
Oh, sorry, no. We just wanted to match the house. And when I measured them, I did the measurements on them, they are 12, or I'm sorry, 10, 12.
They do look like 10, 12 pitches.
Oh, I thought you wanted to go, I thought you were indicating that you were going to go steeper.
Oh, sorry, no.
Oh,
Just
you're
wanted to
going-
match the house.
You're actually going the opposite way. From this drawing, you're actually flattening that roof down a little bit.
Right, from the design, from Bear Design, the architectural drawing.
To the hand drawing in there, on one of the graph papers.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is there a planned use besides just storage above that garage?
No, just extra area to have for area.
Not looking to occupy?
No, no. No, there wouldn't be any plumbing or running water in the building, just electricity and maybe gas to heat it.
Well, definitely, even a 12 pitch makes them look nicer. Plus they're stronger, they withstand more snow, if you pitch it more.
12 would make it go higher.
Yeah, it would. This 10-12 doesn't look that steep.
Unless you're up there putting shingles on.
We're cleaning it off, yeah. My only concern is, in the past, we set these, we didn't set this. This has been here a long time, this 18-foot. It has been brought up to the council before, and they've been denied in the past. I think maybe 2 or 3 times is about it in the last 7 years, 7 years. So, you know, you gotta show fairness. And aesthetically, this would look nicer. It makes the property look nicer. So, I guess that's about it. You know, anybody else have another take on this? Everyone's quiet, must be a weather change.
I don't think the height of the accessory building matters as long as it's shorter than the main building, than the main occupants.
I agree with that.
It's more pleasing to the eye, to the neighbor, and to everybody that goes by, and everything match. And to get under the 18 feet, you're gonna start going to a pretty flat roof. It's gonna look out of place, and it's gonna snow blowing. You guys know how I feel, less rules are better. But
Well, it's almost like this ordinance needs a little bit of an adjustment, Ben.
I think if we just busted it open and changed the size on it,
Yeah.
on accessory buildings.
So, we're looking at a variance here,
Technically, it is next on the agenda.
is next.
Number 3 is.
Yeah, this is part of that section that we're talking about in terms of ordinance amendments after this one. And just quick history here, it looks to me like your 1974 ordinance had a 15-foot height maximum. And that was changed in 1996 to 18 feet.
15 foot, you almost have a flat roof. You have a 6/12 pitch, don't you?
Hey, so when you do a flat roof,
Yeah,
that's
that's 6
That's
inches,
short.
every foot.
Yeah, that's.
You can
a lot of-
stand on it.
Lot of snow blowing.
To me, if we're gonna bust it open and change it, I had no problem before, was staying underneath the regular primary structure, but when you start working a house with your garage is where our energy issues even with square footage on a house is, you know, your footprint of the garage should be bigger than the footprint of the house. That's
That makes
personal
sense.
preference to me, and this was the same thing on the height, I guess. I had to shorten my roof down on my garage.
It's like my
When I put
wife
it up,
says,
Keep it under the pitch of my house.
my wife says I could live in a 20 by 20 house, but I need a shop that's 40 by 80, you know? Just,
Well, I would want to be careful that we don't qualify the height of the garage in at least a single, if we say, well, it should not exceed the height of the house, take a 2-story house, we build a 2-story garage, you know.
Well, that's basically what you got here. You got 2 stories, you got the main floor and you got an up floor.
Well, you got a
2
roof,
story.
you got a roof over the top,
Makes it look like the old carriage house
yeah.
style next to an old, very nice looking.
especially.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the aesthetics of it all. It's-
Very, very attractive.
especially when everything matches, pitches and design.
Like I said before, some of this has to do with, I think you could look at it a couple different ways. One is the aesthetics of that property, how does it fit in with that property? And the other one is how does it fit in with the neighborhood? So, if somebody has a 3-story, large, tall house, and then on both sides of them is this, little landlord. Does that mean anything in terms of what this person puts on their lot that has a tall house? I think that's one of the considerations if you're gonna get into an ordinance change discussion. But Now, regardless if you're gonna act on this, or as you act on this variance, we have to have findings that support the decision. So if there's something unique about this situation or this property that justifies a variance, we need to state what that is. And if there's not, then we need to state that, why there's nothing unique about it.
I think the uniqueness is found in the, somewhere where this is. In the finding of facts for the city. Under number 6, granting the variance be in harmony with the general purpose. It says the ordinance doesn't apply, but if you turn the page, there's a little paragraph that says the general purpose and intent of the maximum allowed 18-foot height for detached accessory buildings is to preserve the residential character of the neighborhood and prevent detached accessory buildings from dwarfing the primary dwelling on a lot or a structure, or structures located on nearby lots, and to prevent excessive blockages of the Mississippi River. Well, I'm pretty sure that's not going to dwarf any of the other houses in that area. And it's not going to block any more view of the Mississippi from anyone other than what Mother Nature already blocks. The houses on both sides are on par with the same size.
And those are just my comments. That first comment about the ordinance not applying is for the subdivision ordinance.
Oh, okay.
But the zoning ordinance applies, and that's the second paragraph. And that's just, like I said, that's my, you know, there's nothing written down that I'm aware of that says, you know, here's why the city
But
adopted this ordinance.
that makes sense for why it would have made that ordinance at that time.
And it's not uncommon. There's lots of ordinances that I've worked with that limit height of detached accessory buildings. That's presumably the reason is something along those lines.
I don't feel comfortable making a decision right now until we go through our second part of tonight. And then bring up these discussions then, and if it's something we want to change or feel needs some tweaking, then we should come back to this. We can make a decision on this one after we see that next, or hear the next public hearing. Okay.
I think what
What's
you
your
do is
guys'
that in that
time
case is,
Pardon me?
He's asking.
Sorry?
What kind of time for you?
Oh,
looking at
yeah,
This is fall or is it
spring, springtime project.
I think fine, we can table it, then that's okay.
We'll just wait. You maybe don't need a variance, it depends on what we decide and what the council approves on the second part we're discussing tonight. Then, if perchance it does, we change that height regulation, the council approves that, then you have nothing to even talk to us about, so. We'll just, we'll put this one on hold.
We need a motion to table.
you need a motion to table, and if you're tabling until later in the night, I think you should say that, if you're tabling it to spring or something.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a motion.
We have to act on the variance within a certain time frame.
Right, so we have to table the next meeting if we want. Because that still gives us, what do we have, 60 days? Is
We
that
have 60 days to act on.
from the application, is that right?
Now, with the chapter 11 items, what we'll plan on doing, because we're planning on taking bite-sized chunks of it, so we'll take 1103 and 1104 tonight, and then we'll work on another chunk at our next meeting to get all of chapter 11 done eventually before, say, March or before the spring. Then we'll bring all of chapter 11 to the council at one point in time. So the council won't necessarily have a chance to act on any changes to 1103 that we have tonight. Will be the recommendation, but we won't bring that to the council for action until early spring for them to act on all of 11. The 11 is just too big to take care of in one night.
Well, let's have a motion. Do I,
I'll make a motion to table until after discussion on item 2 for tonight, and then we can go from there.
table it till the next meeting?
No, until later tonight after our discussion, so if we come up with nothing on our other one, we can act on the variance and pass it on, and if it gets denied
Okay.
to the council, there's still a chance in a few months down the road, but
Okay, the motion's been made by Jeremy to table until after our discussion on the next public hearing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Hearing none, motion carries.
Is the public hearing closed yet? Can I-
Public hearing for yours was closed at,
Can I make a few comments on another topic?
not right now, no.
You can in the next public hearing.
Yeah, we're opening that
Are you
up.
gonna open back up again?
Yeah.
Oh, a different than that.
We have a
It's a
different
different
public
one.
hearing that pertains to a lot of what we're discussing here even. So, at this time, we're gonna open up our next public hearing at 6:58. It's amendment to city code, sections 11-03 and section 11-04.
Okay, just pull up here. This one, we've seen a lot of these changes before, and Greg just summarized the thought here is that we're gonna go through sections at a time and then come back and everything in the spring all hopefully sort of put together in the way you want it and then bring it to the council. But the first two sections that we're talking about are 1103 and 1104. And pull up the language here. if I can get them. So a lot of this is what we've already discussed and made recommendation to the council on. When it went to the council the first time, there was one particular ordinance and language that they wanted to have some more conversation about, talk about, and so they ended up technically denying everything. And so this is kind of a second public hearing or hearing on some of those items, but like Greg said, as part of this process, we decided, well, let's just go over each section part by part and do it. So this is kind of a review of the entirety of section 1103 and 1104, and the idea is that any changes we want to make to this section, we should make and talk about now. And it doesn't have to be all in one night necessarily, but that's the idea. So just kind of paging through it. Well, you've got the summary there in the staff report of what's changing. So there's a whole section there on non-conforming uses and structures. There's this is pretty much what we've talked about already. The only thing that I want to bring up again on this is we've had some conversation. We had two different options that we discussed about how to handle doing any kind of additions. So say you've got a house on a small lot. The lot is too small for it to be built on today, but it's already there, so it's grandfathered in. If anybody wants to add on to that house, or if they want to add a new garage, detached garage that they didn't have before, or maybe tear down a smaller detached garage and build a larger one, how do we want to handle that? Right now, the ordinance requires a conditional use permit to do that, and it limits it to a one-time addition. We talked about two different ways of addressing that. One was to say, okay, it's still going to be a conditional use permit, but we were relaxing some of the requirements that they had to meet in order to get that. The second way was to just say everything that's done needs a variance. And that's ultimately the way that the council was kind of talking about it, and the city attorney had kind of recommended it. But we can talk about that again if there's, I think, if I remember right, I think the recommendation